Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I thank Dr. Vasavada for inviting me to speak in this session. Since I have been given an open-ended topic, I have taken the liberty of restricting my talk to phacoemulsification in cases involving iris defects. I have no financial disclosure in this presentation. Now, essentially, iris defects, for the sake of surgical convenience, can be divided into two types, congenital and acquired. The congenital referring to the absence of iris either sectorally, which we refer to as iris colobomas, or complete absence of the iris, which is referred to as aniridia. The acquired defects are generally traumatic in nature, and these include iridodialysis, which is disinsertion of the iris, surgical iris colobomas, which generally occur after iris abscission while doing repair of corneal perforations, and traumatic mydriasis, which is a fixed dilated pupil, usually due to sphincter damage following blunt trauma, which can cause severe debilitating glare. I'll proceed straight to the cases. So this is a case of iris coloboma along with the developmental cataract. The idea is to implant a lens in the capsular bag, and then the defect can be covered by the use of a partial iris implant. This implant is made by Ophtec, and when the lens is implanted, the iris implant itself is also inserted in the capsular bag after making an extra space with the use of a high viscosity viscoelastic. Subsequently, the implant itself is dialed in the bag and the eye is closed. This is a post-operative appearance of the patient's eye. The internal diameter of the implant is such that it allows for a pupil diameter of 4 millimeters in the post-operative period. This is a case of total aniridia along with a developmental cataract. The idea is to get a large excess and to remove all remnants of cortical fibers. Since the zonules are intact in this case, the lens can be easily implanted in the sulcus. This is an aniridia, which is an artificial iris, along with a central 4 millimeter clear area, which functions as the pupil. As there is a little stump of iris available, one has to be careful that the lens is implanted below the stump into the sulcus. And as you can see, while removing the viscoelastic, the lens remains quite stable in the sulcus area. Aniridia is accompanied with the zonular dialysis. Then the lens has to be fixated to the sclera. This is a case with aniridia along with about 180 degrees zonular dialysis. After removing the cortical fibers with the help of a hybrid bimanual technique, I'll be implanting a scleral fixated aniridic lens. I use sutures to tie the lens to the sclera. The lens is implanted over the remnants of the capsular bag, and as you can see, the sutures are pulled in opposite directions, and simultaneously the lens is inserted in the sulcus. These are a few of the post-operative pictures. This is a bilateral aniridic implant. These are various eyes with different aniridia implants. The top right shows an aniridia implant with a black iris. Coming to iridodialysis. Now, this is a case with the inferior iridodialysis along with the traumatic cataract. The idea is to remove the lens and repair the iridodialysis. I use an iris hook to keep the iris away during phacoemulsification, and this is engaged at the start of the surgery. And as you would see, this iris hook is quite effective in preventing the iris from coming into the phacoemulsification handpiece. Again, care is taken to remove all cortical matter before the lens is implanted. Following the removal of the cortical matter, I am implanting a single piece lens in the capsular bag. Following this, the iris hook is released, and I change my position temporally to proceed with the iris repair. Since the iridodialysis is large, I'll be using two double-armed sutures to impinge the iris onto the sclera. They are made at in a distance which is equidistant from each other, as well as the corners of the iridodialysis defect.
Tushar, can I ask you to sum up, please?
Yes. Now, these are a few examples of cases where I have repaired iridodialysis. This is a case which was left aphakic. This is a bad-looking corneoscleral perforation which has been repaired along with an inferior iris defect. This is a case of iris coloma along with subluxation which has been repaired. Sometimes we need to reduce the pupil size to decrease the effect of the edge of the lens which can be there. This can be done by using a Sieps's knot, which is essentially a sliding knot, in which the loop of the suture is externalized and the movements are made outside. And then once the suture is in place, it is slid across from the side port. And once this is done, the knot slides inside to the place where the needle has been inserted. And as you can see, it is quite effective in reducing pupil size.
Thank you so very much, Tushar.